I'm Edward Stern, I'm lead writer on Brink. I work for this man.
I'm Paul Wedgett, Brink's director.
And here's a man that needs no introduction.
I'm Chuck, AskACapper and I've been doing the custom button remapping for this year.
Custom button remapping, ask him about it. He's a celebrity. Okay.
So yeah, I just want to say that it's great to be able to have this opportunity to talk to you guys. Like from a disabled gamer standpoint, what you guys are adding to Brink is awesome. It's going to help so many gamers throughout the earth. Want to play certain games, but sometimes they're disabled. Now, when you guys started adding remapping, I know it was from because you're a PC gamer.
I think we'd love to take some credit for it, for being kind of forward thinking. I think it just didn't occur to us not to. It's like, this is something a PC gamer's been able to do since forever, and we just don't understand why you wouldn't do it. So I don't think it didn't really feel like an active decision. I don't think it was just, of course you do.
Yeah, just a general frustration with other console games because it makes no sense that you can't rebind your balance. It's like the idea, in multiplayer gaming on the PC, you expect that you can join a server at any time you like and play alongside other people. Not that you have to have a party at the start or a lobby and be together before you start. So Brink was just abandoned that idea and you can just jump in whenever you like. You could be halfway through your mission, he could be watching a cinematic, I can connect into the two of you at the same time. And it doesn't even matter who I connect to, and that's what's important. With the button mapping, it's the same idea. Now, years ago, when we did Point 3 Fortress, we had this idea to support the hearing impaired. So we created iconography, the sound effects, and then we placed them on the HUD stereographically. Now, we lost the ability to do that many years ago, especially when we moved to 5.1 and everything else. And it becomes too difficult for so many different weapons and effects that are kind of critical and important to gameplay. But I think the idea of being able to modify the controller layout so that it just suits the way that you prefer to play is really important. But for certain players, for example, they'll notice that we didn't put sprints on top hat, which is what most games do, and many popular games do, because in Brink they have a smart movement system that's quite important to maintain thumb dexterity. Now, if you're just one of those people, disabled or not, but you just lack thumb dexterity, it just might not be that important to you, so you're quite happy to be a sprinter and have some other function on the shoulder.
You've got to be able to switch it as you want.
Just to whatever effect. But it is quite surprising how much the right controls that are comfortable, like good tools for artists, are much more important than just dictating the control setting you prefer you to use.
And now, when did you guys realize that remapping would affect such a large portion of the disabled community?
We noticed, when we started to do these most recent events, and Journey said, can I change the mapping? We just put in that new list of different games. So we hint at control layouts that are similar to some other games. So there's one map out called Duty Calls, there's another one called Green Chief Marine. There's a couple of other ones.
Zombie Killers.
Oh my gears.
Yeah. Zone of Killing.
So we had this list of them, and we finally put it. We've been playing with being able to execute those CFGs manually for some time, but we finally put it in the user interface as a list plus the custom controls that we always wanted to do. And just Jonah started noticing it. It was like the biggest feature reveal we've done. And we were like, why do they keep? And then we started to get requests for screenshots of that screen that let you do custom button remapping, and it makes you realise actually that I think in many ways Brink is a million things iterated on, over the 2.5 years we've been playing it at the office, more than it is simply just big major steps. Like, there are certainly 3 or 4 big steps, but it's they're like hundreds and hundreds of tiny little things just subtly improved.
And it didn't seem like a big deal to us at the time. It was like, oh, this is really good. Oh, good, okay. Yeah, that's great.
Maybe your shirt says the revolution begins, and with Brink, that's when maybe it was the PC developer stepping into the console saying, this is something we all need because
here's all the things we hate.
The awesome thing about the campaign that you really spearheaded is I don't think anyone was thinking, should we do this? No, let's not do it. It wasn't like there was an active reason not to. It's just people didn't realise it was an issue. People don't know until there's awareness of it, and it's fantastic. That's what you've done in a really indelible way. It's like, okay, we're not going to get away with just kind of, well, no, it's kind of awkward, why not do that? No, it's important, let people play the game.
There were some other shootery type things as well, though, that frustrated us. Like, when I first started playing on an analog controller, I didn't like the fact that if I wanted to have really low sensitivity in the central zone for sniping, then I gave up the ability to turn quickly on the spot. So we started to look at things where you could adjust the curve of acceleration, you know, for your Y and your X axis, which we also do in the game. So you can actually modify the control to quite a significant degree to give you a level of sensitivity both on X and Y sticks that's independent of what you're doing about remapping as well.
And it's just great to see that level of customization that you guys have added. It's amazing.
Well, and also, you can do it in the middle of the game. You don't need to quit out and reconfigure your control. I never quite understood why you need to do that, but yeah, because you might just suddenly realise, you know what, I'd rather have it like this, or I'm using this a lot. You can just rebind it straight away and get back into the action.
Yeah, and so you see, like, as you guys like are starting this sort of revolution on the console gaming.
Oh, evolution, look. See, so it works both ways.
I've been trying to maintain eye contact and not stare at your chest, and you're not making it easy for me, ball down there.
Well, because evolution was the slogan of the security, and then the resistance run along and just spray paint the R, which turned it to revolution. They did that with quite a lot of the scientists. Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
And what I appreciate is that it's something that is going to open you guys up to, like, I mean, seriously, like, now if other developers, like other developers control technically, is something you encourage them to do? I mean, as from a developer to a developer for accessibility, is it a hard thing to accomplish?
No, I think it's like most simple ideas. We've plagiarised enough stuff ourselves over the years from other developers that were really good ideas.
Plagiarised, that means steal, right?
We've been inspired to mimic some of the best ideas in video gaming. And it's like making movies or writing books or anything else. If you enjoy the medium, you want everybody else to be able to do similar, to make similar advances to you. Generally, when we think about the game that we're going to make, it's a relatively simple process. We kind of project out 2 or 3 years from now what we want to be playing, and then we look around and we try and figure out whether anybody else is making it. If they're not, we stop.
So, like, every map was an extension of that, saying, hey, and that's great that you had the PC background as well, and saying that is just so encouraging about meeting you guys, being able to thank you for that, because, like, there's so many people
well, thank you, because you have made the games industry better. And there's not many people you can point to and say that. It's like, people didn't realise this was an issue, you know, it's not like people decided not to, it's just, oh, really, is that a good, oh, of course, as soon as you stop and think about it, yeah, that's really important, we should totally do that.
Now, is there anything that, like the console developers can do to help game developers make this a feature more of a predominant feature? Like,
I mean, certainly, one of the benefits that we have, of course, is that we work with id technology for a long period of time. And we've been using id tech since the Quake 3 engine when we did our first mod, Quake 3 Fortress. Yeah, no, it was Quake 3 years ago when we did Quake 3 Fortress, our first mod. And so we were writing script files back then when we were cloud players that, you know, we had our F1 to F12 keys on the keyboard, and we would rebind them 4 times for our dynamically modifiable offense and defense communication system just amongst our clan. So if you held down Control F4, it was incoming ramp, incoming sniper deck, and then if you held down Alt, it was dead on sniper deck, dead on one, so you could send different messages, right?
Or just things like being able to say, oh, I want to spawn as this class with this weapon. Now, if you're a PC gamer, you can write a little config or script that will let you do that. Like, that's really useful. Why don't we just let players do that? Why don't we let the game let players do that?
Yeah, so it's just the same philosophy. Like, we really like our story, but we're not so precious about it that you can't skip it or use that time to choose your starting class and your starting weapon loadout instead and ignore it completely. So, you know, it's just the same kind of general philosophy. I know, they all love you outside.
He's here?
So, like, what's the difficulty behind
I think everything that you do with the user interface in a console can be a challenge because you have a thing called certification. And certification with the console manufacturers means that symbols have to be of a certain size, a certain clarity, the way that you scale them or use them on the interface has to be presented in a very specific and certain format. And so it's quite a new thing to start modifying that, so that takes some time to get right. But I think in general it's something that other game developers could do relatively easily, perhaps not quite close to release. because it does require a ton of testing. There have been over the years for some of the top shooters various button exploits that have been possible. Where people would press certain things in combination. To skip a reload and allow the sword halfway through a reload to get a quick attack. We've seen that stuff at the pro gaming level. So there's a lot of testing that you have to do to make sure that button remapping works out. But Bethesda have tested this game for tens of thousands of hours along the spectrum, so we're kind of used to that.
And then what was their why did they want to go into that and actually offer the money over there? Because that's what they do, right? Bethesda game.
Yeah, well, and also I think in splash damage, we quite often just discover that things are in the game because a small group of people decided to work the weekend to make something happen that aren't necessarily part of a big master plan. I don't think there is no game design document that says button remapping is something that's going to go in the game. I couldn't name it exactly who did it, but I've got a feeling that Chesh, our user interface artist, and Dan Young, our lead gameplay programmer, just got together with a couple of other guys and said we should make this thing happen, and they just took care of it. There was no master plan that said it had to happen.
Give them a hug for me. Or every handicap team.
I'd have to hug everybody in art design and programming because I'm not entirely sure the entire feature.
You're an indiscriminate hugger. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to get in there.
Well, look, thank you very much for coming along. Really nice to meet you. If anyone is interested in buying the game, it's going to be out on May 17th in the US, May 20th in Europe, or the other way round. Okay. And it's going to be on the leading 3 platforms, which are probably Xbox 360, PlayStation 3,
And PC.
Button remapping for the win. I love these guys.
Thank you very much.